Hello there, back again, Angry Watchman. Now, I'm gonna try and go through this video as tight as I can. I'm gonna be respectable, okay? I'm not gonna take a dig at his child or anything like that, because she's the one answering the questions. I think it's she. I'm gonna revert to child for this, okay? And you know, so I don't want to stoop to any low and derogatory terms towards that child because it's not fair. However, I would like to say that I'm going to try my best to answer questions and keep this video flowing nicely without skipping too much. I had a brief sort of skip through this video, and the child's attention span does waver quite often and does shoots off into a different tangent and just has a bit of fun every now and then. So it's not exactly going to be the smoothest of rides of videos, but we'll see how it goes. And I got some very sad news as well. I unsubscribed from World of Warcraft. I know it's crazy. First time in about 10 years. Ugh. Oh, that poor game. How it's been ruined. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. Right, let's see if I can at least answer a couple of his questions or put my sort of viewpoints on it, to why I disagree with how many flat earthers talk and act, and why I believe they're not real skeptics at all. So we're going to just slowly go through this and see how it goes. Okay? Right.
Alright, let's do this.
Why is your so much better than mine?
Because mine's bright. Because I go by the light. I'm woke.
You so
Funny. Wow, really active chat room. Whoa, look at it go!
rude. Let me just.
Because it's flat.
Oh, okay. So speaking of flat, today on my channel we're gonna be talking about flat Earth. Can't see that, but said flat Earth. Was me Jacob. This is my stepdad. He believes in flat Earth. I think it's a little crazy. You understand? And
Well done, kid. At least you've understood that the flat earth is crazy. I'll give you that one. If I had a ding meter, I'll give you a ding for positivity.
I'm gonna be asking you questions about it. And introduce yourself.
My name's Jacob Morley. On every social media, I'm
Is he going to claim he's probably related to Mickelson Morley or something? So no, it's Mickelson and Morley. Sorry, I just remembered.
God's Gladiator 247. You can look me up.
God's Gladiator 247. You do realise the term gladiator came from Greek mythology. Greek mythology is completely different to the Bible, and the gladiators killed people, and the Bible actually shuns killing. Whatever.
That's what it is. Hey, gotta put it out there. Shout out to myself. And Effie offensive. Stay flat.
Ugh. Him in the Flat Earth Offensive t-shirt from D-Marble. Ugh. Good grief. Sorry, but this stay flat movement winds me up massively. Oh, the hell was that?
My dream.
Okay. For me, it says my first question is, how long have you believed in flat Earth?
Solid at least 2 to 3 years. Without question.
See, again, without question. So it shows to me that whatever anybody tells him, he's going to just not care. He's unquestionably supporting something that he has not even the vaguest idea is actually true. Because he just ignores everyone. You know, he's right, because he's quote-unquote woke.
Okay, now, can you explain why the Earth is flat?
Yes, please explain.
Because we experience it flat.
No, we don't. Hardly. When the topography, I live in Wales, dude, so hell, I think there's not much in Wales that's considered flat. Ever. So we don't really experience it flat. So yeah, no.
And when you go outside, you don't feel spin.
Okay, you don't feel spin. Again, that's just rubbish. Right, dude? Let me ask you this. Do you feel your blood pumping through your veins? No. Do you feel your food flowing through your large intestine? Well, unless you've got a bad stomach, of course. But the answer is no. Right? Because flat earthers hate it when you bring this up. Okay? But when you're travelling on a plane at 500 miles an hour, or hell, even Concorde at gone Mach 1, or 700 to 1,000 miles an hour on any plane for that matter, right? But let's just stick to a normal commercial jumbo, right? Do you feel like you're moving? No, unless the plane accelerates and decelerates. Now, my analogy for this, right? You could be fast asleep. Somebody could pick you up, pop you into the back of a car, right? Black out all the windows, and drive along an incredibly smooth and straight road at, let's say, about 60 miles an hour. If you woke up, you'd have no concept of the fact that you're moving until the car accelerates and decelerates. It's not movement we feel, it's inertia. So when you brake, you lunge forward. When you accelerate, you pin to the back of the seat. It's just how it works. So I'm sick and tired of flat earthers coming up with this, oh, we don't feel like we're moving, when it's an irrelevant concept in the first place.
I do.
If you've been drinking.
No, I feel spin.
If you spin around 100 times, yeah, you feel spin. But when you step outside, you get on flat ground.
No.
You don't feel it.
All my glasses users out there, as soon as you get a new pair of glasses, you're over here spinning, thinking you're drunk. You're just
optical illusion.
Exactly right there.
But we see
That's ironic.
the same stars every day. The North Star Polaris doesn't.
No, we don't see the same stars every day. That's wrong. Okay. Well, first of all, we don't see stars during the day anyway, and the only stars, and I need to make this fact again. I did cover this in my other video. Is that the only stars that you see is when you look up to the north of the sky, depending on where you are, obviously. The ones to the west change depending on the time of year. When you look west or south, right, if you're in the northern hemisphere, the ones from east, west, south, blah, 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 right, they're the ones that change depending on the time of year. The ones directly, when you look to around Polaris, at a certain distance, they remain the same all year, just at different angles. Their position in the sky is a little different depending on the time of year, right?
It's not possible.
Except if you live in.
Right. And he just says there, now, Polaris doesn't move, which is impossible on a flat Earth, even though the whole concept of star trails isn't impossible on a globe, right? But I'm going to bring you back to that little portion, little bit you spoke about a second ago. Let me just go back here.
The North Star Polaris doesn't move. It's not possible.
Except if you live in the city.
Right. Keep an eye. Well, I've already spoiled it now, but never mind. Keep an eye on that little centre right there, because that star is Polaris. See? So, without a star trail, it doesn't look like it's moving. But clearly here, it's going around its own circular path. So, contrary to what Eric Dubé says and many other flat earthers say, Polaris is not directly dead center at the North Pole. It just isn't. And its position is moving. and it's measured to be moving. Okay, so that's another thing that I really don't want to hear flat earthers say, because it's just downright stupid. This is the sort of stuff that you need to be researching, my friend, before you actually teach your children this sort of thing. Please understand astronomy before you claim that it's wrong.
Look up stars.
Then you can't see it. It's just from emissions and, you know.
Don't you say chemtrails.
Light.
Look up like stars.
We didn't. But hey.
Like a video of stars and like just watch it. But I don't believe in flat earth. But
look up a time lapse of stars with Polaris. Polaris doesn't move.
As I've just showed, it does.
Chew it. Tattoos. Not sponsored.
Huh, clever. I like your humor.
Made you transition to flat earth to round earth?
You mean from round earth to flat earth?
No.
Yes. Sneaky.
You had to answer it.
I was a conspiracy theorist to begin with. I know that we've been lied to. I know that we hadn't been to the moon.
Oh, you know you haven't been to the moon. How do you know that? What, you mean by all those little conspiracies that have been debunked time and time and time again, and no one's ever brought out any significant sort of evidence since? It's been the moon landings have been a conspiracy since the day it happened, and it's always going to be that way, unfortunately. The people who have your sort of viewpoint on that matter are never going to be swayed. However, even if it's been said that the moon landings never happened, I can see sort of reasonable reasons why they did that, due to many other aspects of money and political pressure, blah blah blah. I've been over this before, but the likelihood they did fake it, like I said, if they did fake it, right, why would they fake it 9 more times? They could have just gone, picked up, and faked the notion that they picked up everything they needed, all the rocks they needed, and that was it. They wouldn't need to go up there again. Why would they need to go 9 more times?
So, it leads you to question, everything,
No, it doesn't. You came across Flat Earth like almost every other Flat Earther has, and that's just by basically finding it on YouTube.
Turn me into a truth seeker.
Yeah.
No, you're not a truth seeker. You're just a very bad skeptic who won't listen to any questions that you want answered.
So, it turned from one conspiracy from aliens to NASA to...
There is no conspiracy for aliens. Aliens is just a paranoia, due to the unexplained.
I'm an alien.
I believed in aliens too. 3-4 years ago, I believed in aliens, but now...
I'm an alien.
Even though aliens have got nothing to do with space or NASA or anything, aliens just came about as we looked through space. People asked the question, are we alone in the galaxy or in the universe? And in my sort of personal opinion, no, we're not alone. The notion that we are alone in something as vast as the universe is ludicrous. There must be something out there.
So what you saying? I'm not real?
You were found under a rock.
I'm an alien. I came from Jupiter.
So cool. I came from Venus.
Oh yeah.
Or
Kryptonite.
You came from Venus.
One of the two.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. No, I want a high five. I wanted a high five.
Oh. Okay, next question.
She's frustrated, I can tell. Trying her best. He's just acting all smug, as usual. It's the way Flat Earthers probably talk in front of their children as well.
I don't take you places.
What, can you drive at your young age? That's impressive.
It spelled on me. This is why I edit. Why do people believe in it? Why do people believe in round earth?
No, this ought to be good.
You mean in flat earth? Because it's round earth, we're taught to believe that we come from monkeys, we evolved.
No, that's not. Astronomy and evolution are not the same bloody thing. They can be separate entities entirely.
For monkeys,
Evolution also does not say that we came from monkeys. Not in the slightest.
From primordial goo, from the Big Bang, we, came from nothing. Flat Earth is, not only is it biblical, and it says it in the Bible.
No, it's not biblical at all. Not even close. Do you not understand how often the Bible had been translated before it even got anywhere near modern day English? If you know what I mean? People had specific phrases and things for certain words. It's like the fake term that NASA is Hebrew for deceive, even though that's not true. Right? This whole notion that apparently, they make us feel like we mean nothing. I disagree. I honestly think that the notion that there's a vast universe for us to explore makes me feel very special. Think about it. I mean, in the near future, if I ever have grandchildren, well, I'd need children first, right? If they ever space travel got to a certain point in the future to where it could be viable form of transportation, think about it. Like you could be setting up regular travels to and from Mars constantly, and then to and from Pluto, and the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. I know Jupiter's further, but you know what I mean. Sorry, Pluto's further, but you get what I mean. And then after sort of our energy demands change, and our propulsion systems get better, we could eventually go for beyond our solar system. But that's a long way away from now. Long way away. Just the safety logistics are a bit, way off.
But it gives you purpose.
Look at her. She's way off track. She's just not interested. She's more interested with the crumbs that are coming out the bottom of her crisp packet.
Means that there's a creator and we have a purpose here on this earth.
But
is that good?
Yes, it was good. I want to burp it out. I feel like I gotta
Don't do
throw
it.
up.
If you I'm a
Okay, stop it. You're distracting me. Okay. What
No, I think your crisp packet distracted you.
made you Okay, here's something off of it. People believe in round earth, right? Me. Well, since people believe in round earth, they still believe, some people who believe in the round earth still believe in God.
Yes, because they understand that all this happens for a reason. It's not an accident. The chances of us being who we are and feeling what we feel there has to be a creator.
Why? You do realize that, like, let's say new species of frogs have been discovered like almost every 20 minutes, and that you specifically are born from two specks, sperm, egg, that meld together, and you can barely see these with the naked eye, if at all, and they eventually merge and do all that weird shit. Essentially, you do, it sounds a bit disgusting, but sperm, you technically did come from goop. Ugh, can't believe I'm going there. But you get the point, right? This whole notion that Adam and Eve, not even some hugely deeply Christian people, and I'm talking some vicars here, don't believe in Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve is a very far-fetched story. That apparently Adam and Eve were two essentially Caucasian people, which is what their colour is, according to many depictions, somehow turned into Asians, and all, and hell, even from Noah's Ark, right, which is apparently what happened about 4,000 years ago. How did a few people on a boat, right, over the span of 4,000 years, go from just being one race of people to being Japanese, Chinese, Aborigines, Africans, Native Americans, Indians, white Europeans? That doesn't make sense. And then you talk about some of the animals. So in 4,500 years, lions turned into many other things, and cats spawned the hundreds of different species of felines that we currently have. Same with reptiles, same with fish, same with birds. There's millions of them. There's no way he would have got them onto his boat. It's the story, and the simple fact of the matter is that during the time frame that Noah's Ark said to have happened, apparently there were tons of Egyptian empires and loads of other empires around the world, civilizations around the world, that were completely unknown to this world flood. That carried on unbeknownst to the fact that there was supposed to be a flood killing them all. But no, let's just gloss over that little detail, shall we?
If it's not round, what is it? Because you said it's not like a circle. Everyone knows it's not a solid circle. It's kind of like a messed up one.
Well, people mistake, and they say,
yeah, you mistake a lot, my friend.
Earth is a circle. A circle is a two-dimensional. A circle's two-dimensional. A sphere is a ball. So round or a circle doesn't necessarily mean a ball. It could be flat and round, but we know that according to science, the spherical trigonometry, 8 inches per mile squared.
Bingo. No. The spherical trigonometry is not 8 inches per mile squared. No one uses 8 inches per mile squared. 8 inches per mile squared was used by architects about 200 years ago, right, or going back further than that, as a very approximate equation, right, for a very specific distance over a very short distance. It was only ever meant to be an approximation over a very short distance, because the further you go in distance, the more inaccurate it gets. So no one ever uses it, ever. And there was one flat earther who talked to a structural engineer, and said that the structural engineer said, "Oh, we don't account for the curvature because it's negligible." And he was like, you just proved my argument. No. The only time as a structural engineer that you're ever going to take into account any form of curvature is if you made a bridge that's practically about 200-300 miles long, that's going over probably most of the Pacific. It's other than that, there is no reason for you to. End of.
That's not accurate. So
exactly, it's not accurate. That's why we don't use it.
Either the Earth is way bigger than we've been taught, or it's relatively flat. You still have mountains and crevices and valleys and stuff, but
yes, which needs some explaining on your part. In terms of evolution, right? Please explain to me why there are sea-going fossils, right? So fossils of ancient sea-going creatures that can be found on the top of the Himalayas. Explain that in the Sahara, which is thousands of miles wide, again, why there are fossils of sea-going creatures there. Because the Sahara, right, get this, used to be an ocean hundreds of thousands of years ago, if not millions of years ago, right? And the fact that we have fossils on top of the Himalayas basically shows that the Himalayas, thanks to tectonic plates moving, used to be underwater. This is the stuff you need to learn and read. Use your normal mind, not your skeptic mind.
A lot of you subscribers go to my school, and y'all know we're not learning trigonometry yet.
No, but that's the technical term.
Okay.
Yes, if a child your age learned trigonometry, that's pretty advanced for someone your age.
Okay. Okay, is the flat Earth theory connected to a religion?
No.
Because I read some places where it says it is.
Technically, yes.
No, it really isn't.
So are you that religion?
I personally, I don't go by a certain religion. I
Free spirits.
Kind of, but I believe in at least mostly the Bible. I believe that the Bible.
So mostly the Bible. So what that tells me then is that you pick and choose from the Bible what you want, and that you don't believe in all of it, which is a bit ridiculous in my opinion. You either do or you don't. You don't go, oh well, I believe in some of it, but not all. That's, yeah, some people would like to have a chat with you on that. You know, that's, I don't get it. I mean, some of the fact is the Bible is connected to Christianity, and if you want to be pedantic and specific, essentially Judaism, Islam, Christianity, and many others are essentially the same religion, just a different book, different interpretations of the same stories.
The Bible was intentionally written.
You're just like your big hand.
Yeah.
Got big hand.
Yes, the Bible wasn't written in one go, wasn't an author. The Bible is a culmination of thousands of years worth of different scripts and parchments and writings that were then put together into one collection. Because the Old Testament is, well, the clue's in the name, is way, way, way older than the New Testament. Judaism is essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I can tell, Judaism is essentially the Old Testament. They don't believe in the New Testament, which contains Christ and the Second Coming and all that kind of thing. Jews don't believe in that, but Christ does. Christians believe in both Old and New, because it's it comes along into one whole story.
Hey, I think the Bible was intentionally written, so I go by the Bible, not necessarily a religion or a title, you know.
But you go by the Bible, which technically itself is a title. She is losing focus.
Okay, people have been into space. How have they not discovered the Earth is flat?
Because people haven't been to space.
But
And you know this how? Even though we quite clearly know they have, and no flat earthers provided any sort of proof of fakery or CGI as of yet. And if any of you come up with the word bubbles, because there couldn't possibly be anything else, right, then I'm going to go a bit nuts, because that's a very old thing that's been debunked time and time again, right? We have the ISS, which no flat earthers provided me any sort of significant proof or any sort of evidence that it's fake. Not even close. So you're saying they haven't, even though you haven't provided any proof or evidence of it at all. It's just the fact that you want to believe they haven't. That's it. Done.
we have proof that people have.
You don't have proof. You have
Yes, we have.
NASA.
Yes, what's wrong with NASA? You may think of the moon landings and all this kind of stuff, but you haven't provided any proof. The only reason why you think they're untrustworthy is because you think the Earth is flat. So therefore, you're going to label them as disingenuous, well, no matter what they say anyway. So it's a sort of argument that's going to hit a brick wall all the time.
No, we have people go to recordings there and then
NASA's all we got in America.
Okay, guys.
No, you have a little bit more than America, and NASA in America. You have all of the amateur astronomers and different sort of space agencies that are separate entities that probably have smaller projects going on that send up their own sort of miniature satellites and all this kind of thing. You have the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, the Chinese Space Agency, the Indian Space Agency, the European Space Agency as a whole, the Russian Space Agency. There's a lot.
As y'all know, I really like Michael Jackson. What about that Scream video?
I would have to see the video again. But fisheye lenses, I mean, you have to have an attention to detail and understand
Fisheye lenses again.
photos.
I don't think they're trying to hide the notion that many cameras they use on the ISS and many things have fisheye lenses. I don't think they're trying to hide that.
Understand fisheye lenses, like I showed you earlier.
Oh, yeah.
From curved this way to curved that way.
There's some things I do.
Even though there are many weather balloon footage that people like you like to use as proof that don't use fisheye lens, it shows curvature in the background, and yet you still ignore it.
You believe in flat Earth? Yeah, don't be proud.
Mm-hmm. I block trolls from my channel.
Oh, you block trolls? No, you don't. You block anyone who disagrees with you. That's all you do. And this is a never-ending thing. D-Marble does it because D-Marble is an arrogant. Oof, I wasn't about to swear then. D-Marble essentially ignores anyone who's just got less subscribers than him, because he seems to think that he's better than everyone. That him having more subscribers makes him some sort of more superior human being somehow, right? Flat earthers like you just ignore everyone who simply disagree with you. Basically, anyone who tries to argue, instead of trying to argue the point back with facts and figures, you just go, nah, I'm ignoring you, done, and block them. It happens over Twitter, it happens over Facebook, it happens over YouTube. On Twitter, it's insane. But basically, you're called a shill and then click goodbye, done. And they won't argue. You know, it's unreal.
Try not to. Wow.
So what do you believe in flat Earth? You think we've been to the moon?
You tried to trick me how I tried to trick you. I moved there. It's like the continuation. Okay, but the thing is, I don't believe in flat Earth still, cause you've been lied to all your life. Like, I don't say I've been lied to.
How does he know he's been lied to? He just thinks he's been lied to. That's my argument. This whole woke thing, and like what Russian vids used to say, that he's got really good discernment, so he knows for a fact he's been lied. No, that's not good enough, I'm afraid.
Because I don't like being lied to.
None of us do.
Yes, but prove that you've been lied to. You've yet to show anything. I mean, not just in this video, I mean, at all. Hell, even Globebusters tried to disprove the globe, and they ended up proving it, and then dismissing it. To which means they're lying to their viewer base. All of them. D-Marble, ODD, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, right? Nathan Oakley and all of his weirdos on his channel have all been proven to be liars.
None of us do. But it's a reality.
Do you have
Is it now? No, it's just you're extremely paranoid.
anything on you to represent flat Earth?
No, he doesn't.
Hashtag Effie offensive.
Why are you trying to be offensive?
That's exactly the word I went to, actually. But then again, there's two words to the word offensive, obviously. This is the D-Marble t-shirt that I think he had printed.
Spread the truth.
What truth? There is no truth in flat Earth. You haven't provided anything.
Expose the lies.
You've yet to expose any lies.
Demand answers.
And it wouldn't matter because you're not willing to actually listen to those answers. Or yet again, understand the answers that you're going to be given. This is my problem, is that you're not skeptics. Is that you're not interested in finding out the truth. All you're interested in is being told that you're right. And nothing else will do. I know I've said this before, but it's just a fact.
I demand why you won't give me a hug. Hello.
It's still flat.
No, it's not. It just isn't.
Still round. Like your big head. It's round like your face.
Yeah, something like that.
Nice
I don't
insult,
got a
sweetheart.
face, so I can't compare to that.
Ugh. You evolved from monkeys. God,
No,
What did you evolve from?
I don't.
God made me.
Oh, there.
No, I think your parents made you. And again, evolution does not say that we came from monkeys. We were a specific species of ape that progressed faster than the other ones. Like how? I'm sorry, but I know I've probably said this before in the other video. How can you look at chimpanzees and bonobos and gorillas, right, and orangutans, and not see the connection? That confuses me more than anything. You can see the connection of how we're related. It's unreal. It really is. It's unreal. But these guys have a false understanding of what what evolution is anyway. So, like, there was a bit of comedy, I think, from Dara Breen that explained evolution. Right, and it's far-fetched, right? Basically, he says there was an entire group of blind monkeys that had no eyes, right? And then Mr. One Eye stepped into it and started shagging every single monkey left, right, and centre. And then all the monkeys then had one eyes, okay? Then all the monkeys that were born after had one eye. But then Mr. Two Eyes rolled into the picture and spoiled all of Mr. One Eye's fun. You know, it's a crude concept, but you know what I mean. Basically, is that through chance, an animal was born with a advantage or a biological sort of change. Being born, right? He was born with a change. Now, then, if he managed to mate with others, he then passes on that biological trait. And then it's improved upon or changed when other apes might have had different changes. It's like dogs. The selective breeding of dogs is almost a concept or a very modern term of evolution in a way. Because let's face it, modern dogs the way we have now would not exist without human intervention. They wouldn't exist. We still have just wolves.
There's a person watching for you. I think it's Ani. It's either Ani or my mom.
Never know. Could be anybody. What's up? It's still flat. Y'all need to go back.
What do you mean still flat? You didn't go anywhere.
Y'all need to go back and watch that.
Okay, just like skip every single part where this boy distracted me. The earth is flat.
Hey, Iron Realm, that's what I'm talking about. It's flat, baby. It's flat.
Even though I've just went on to one of his videos now that apparently they tried to convince, they did like a hangout saying that moonlight is cold, even though that concept's been debunked by now. They need to understand that shade, even in its smallest proportions, can vastly increase heat distortion and heat dispersion. But that's a topic for another video.
Hashtag FE offensive.
Okay.
Show me courage.
And the fact that it's D-Marble apparently is now going on a tour of Europe. How quaint. I guarantee they'd hate it if basically I went on a tour specifically to follow them. But then I'll probably be against the law and I'll probably be arrested, so.
Do you want me to go over some of the questions again?
You can. Whatever you feel like. You want me to elaborate on?
Let me just introduce myself.
Right, okay. I think the video sort of repeats itself there. And this video is getting on for about 40 minutes now, so I think that's long enough. But yeah. Right, these were my thoughts and opinions. Mr. Jacob Morley, you can reply to me if you wish. And bring up your own sort of points. However, it's just that I'm using just my own common sense. Right? Let's just run off some points here. A, you were wrong about Polaris never moves. The fact that you think that just because we don't feel movement is a completely useless argument that doesn't matter. Right? Is you haven't provided any proof that you're being lied to. You haven't provided any proof of flat Earth. No flat Earther ever has. You're not willing to actually listen to anyone. Your t-shirt states that, oh, demand answers, even though you don't care damn about the answers that you're given. You know? Spread the truth. What truth? You're acting like a religious zealot. You know? And it's the fact that so many flat earthers now are approaching people in the street. You're acting like religious zealots. You're acting like, you know, the people that you claim are so wrong. You know? And it's the religious ones that are the most worrying because they just will not listen. Because even Mark Sargent has once said that even if in his mind that the flat earth was completely debunked, which it is, right? So let me just put it this way. Even if he had a trip that took him up to the ISS and he was proven wrong, he still wouldn't be able to let go of flat earth, which says a lot, really. Right? You have a false understanding of the trigonometry of the sphere. You use the incorrect 8 inches per square mile. You have an incorrect understanding of evolution and how space works, and you say that no one's ever been to space, even though you cannot possibly prove that. It's just the fact that you want to believe that they haven't. You haven't provided any proof of fakery or CGI, nothing. So yeah, that's me done. And I hope to have this video up as soon as I can. I've actually found a flat earther that's got less subscribers than me. Yay! But hey, we'll see how it goes. Right, I hope to see you all again. Hopefully, eventually, I might have some more videos up more often. But we'll see how it goes. You know, once I get over thousands of subscribers at some point, I'll start having cameras and things, and I'll do some more videos. But we'll see how it goes. Depends how I feel in the next few months or years, whether I give a shit about Flat Earth, because it's starting to bore me now, to be honest with you, even though it's kind of interesting, because the only trouble, it's boring me, but it's also scaring me, because the fact that it's people like him that will eventually teach their children this, and then those children go on and question their teachers, and then not listen to their teachers, and then homeschooling happens, and all this kind of thing, and yeah, it's worrying. It is. It's really worrying. Right then, that'll be me for the night, and I hope to see you all again. Good night.